Welcome to the Speak Your Piece podcast. My name is Ian McNaughton, Big E. Thank you for joining me. It is just a solo pod for me today. Just thought I'd do a quick pod here on Fesitvus. This is Tuesday, December 23rd. I am recording in tropical Squamish, British Columbia. And by tropical, I mean it is wet and like single-digit Celsius. It is not quite freezing. Not quite snow on the horizon, but snow line actually quite low in Squamish. So, this is the perfect winter getaway for me. Again, quick pod today, not a ton, just figured I got time. Might as well, get a show going, get a show out for the people, for the fans. We might have some stuff coming out later this week. Boxing Day, World Juniors, and good sports week. Should be some more college football, some NHL, all that jazz. So, I thought I'd do a little midweek show for the people, and then maybe we'll be doing some more stuff later this week, depending on the schedule, depending on the availability. So, can't wait. I am also wearing a Speak Your Piece hoodie. If you want a chance at winning a Speak Your Piece hoodie, go to our Instagram story and sign up for the 2026 SYP World Juniors Tournament Challenge. Some of you have already joined the 2025 season of bowls. Congrats to the winner of that, TBD. But World Juniors Challenge still open for contestants. Basically, you can sign up until the very first game for your chance to win an SYP hoodie. And I'll send you one. We got a bunch of new hoodies. So please sign up. Tell your friends. Get involved. Show your support. So, SYP, we got the World Juniors Challenge. We'll have an update on our future here, probably sometime next week into the new year, as to where we're going SYP-wise, some of the podcasts, some of the YouTube stuff, all that sort of jazz. So we'll have an update for you next week on all that. That should be good. Stay tuned for that. That'll come out again. I'm thinking either Wednesday or Thursday next week, ahead of the new year. And then, like I said, later on this week, we're going to have, I'm hoping, another pod and some World Juniors stuff, watching World Juniors, doing some football previews, all that sort of stuff. Maybe even a little AEW preview ahead of AEW's pay-per-view World's End this weekend in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, which is like a suburb of Chicago, which not even really a suburb of Chicago. It's like a city on the way out of Chicago or on the way in, depending on whatever direction you're driving in. So, that's what we got going on this week. So look forward to that. Stay tuned. If you don't already, please follow us on our social channels. Instagram at SYPPod. The YouTube is at SYP Pod. Those are the main ones that we're working on now. I probably have to start a TikTok, which not necessarily thrilled about, but probably need to get on that. But the main ones really are Instagram and YouTube. There's a whole link tree on our link, whatever, in our Instagram page, so you can find it all there. Today we got a little hockey chat. We have a little football chat. Some sicko mode games of the week that I want to discuss here. We're coming off last night where I did not watch Monday Night Football. I'll be honest. I'm for full context. I am at my mother's. As you can tell, it is nicely done. Getting set for the holidays. My mom does not have TSN, which I don't blame her. She would never watch TSN unless I was here, and I haven't really been here enough for her to justify having TSN. So I am possibly missing out on World Juniors, so I might go elsewhere to watch that. And I haven't watched any football. None. So did not watch the Monday night game last night. Did not watch the Potato Bowl, which I wish I got the opportunity to do so, but yesterday was such a busy day for me anyways, running around doing errands. So, no TSN. I guess we're a pro Rodgers household, I guess. Fuck Bell. I don't know. But I did watch, I'm going to say, this is my segue. Haha. I did watch the Seattle Kraken take on the Anaheim Ducks. I watched the third period of that last night. The Kraken 3-1. I think it was 3-1 was the final because the Kraken were winning 2-1, and then they got an empty netter. Not a bad game. Fairly competitive game. The Ducks are good. I think the Ducks are talented. The Kraken are maybe not as good, but they got a really nice goal from Jordan Eberle, and then they got the empty netter, so it turned out to be 3-1. The Kraken lost Vince Dunn early in the third period last night, so that's a huge loss, which I think that's part of maybe why the Kraken aren't doing so well this year, is like they lose Vince Dunn, and that's a huge deal for them. Like that's a huge loss. Not to say that he's a bad defenseman. It's just if you're banking on Vince Dunn to keep you alive and keep you in it for the season, that might be more troublesome than you might expect. I did want to discuss, though, the Anaheim Ducks. The Anaheim Ducks are my source of issue, I guess, today. I wrote that, they have a little foul play going on, and foul as an F-O-W-L. So, because they're a duck, it's a foul. Listen, I'm here to make cheesy jokes. You don't have to like them. I like them, and that's the most important thing. So, the Anaheim Ducks are punks, and they're sore losers. Now, in a real world, I would have my best friend, Scott Conkin, on, because he's a big Anaheim Ducks fan. He can defend the Anaheim Ducks. He will come on, I think, either next week or sometime soon, so he can listen to this and defend his Ducks the next time he comes on the show. He'll have beef with me, and that's fine. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But just for me watching last night, because I don't think he watched the game. I watched the game. We were texting a little bit about it last night. The Anaheim Ducks are punks, sore losers, and wimps. So last night, Ross Johnson, noted tough guy, noted physical guy, sucker punched Ty Kartye after Seattle's empty net goal. This was like the play after going down the ice. After the empty net goal, they had the face off, and then the play went down into Seattle end. And after the whistle blew, Ross Johnson goes out of his way. Like, he drops his stick, because somebody else had a stick, drops it, and then just goes and throws a left punch right into Ty Kartye. Now, more of a jab, I'll say. It was more of a jab. It wasn't a full-on, hook. I'll say it was a jab. Now, you just can't do that. That's just not legal. You just can't be going around sucker punching dudes on the ice, especially after the whistle's gone. Just not acceptable. Not cool. This comes after Friday's game, which I did watch with my friend Scott. We watched the Dallas Stars take on the Anaheim Ducks at the Honda Center. I think it's still the Honda Center. On Friday, game was out of hand really quick. It finished 8-3 Dallas. Anaheim was not really in it from the start. But in the middle of that blowout loss, Frank Vatrano having to chase down Jason Robertson, who I think either got a breakaway or a 2-on-1. Frank Vatrano gave the biggest two-hand slash, like right from behind, biggest two-hand slash to Jason Robertson, which I think that was called. I think they called that slash, which they should. It was very clear and obvious. You are not going to get a more clear and obvious slashing penalty than that. To which, as the play wraps around and goes to the sidewall, Vatrano, for no apparent reason, puts Jason Robertson in a headlock, like in a chokehold almost, and falls backwards and falls to the ice. Some real UFC shit, if I'm perfectly honest. And I'm not even a big UFC guy. I have not been paying attention to UFC. But as far as I know, that's a classic UFC move. You put the guy in the chokehold, in a headlock, and then you just sit back. You just fall back, and you take the guy with him. I've done enough tap out or die with my brother to know that's a fairly effective move. Unfortunately, my brother's got a lot stronger, so it doesn't, I don't have the size advantage over him that I once did when we were kids. Point is, But Toronto put Jason Robertson in a headlock, took him down. I think he got a 10-minute misconduct and something else. He missed the rest of the game, essentially. Toronto did. And then I think he got the, maximum fine allowed under the CBA, which is like $5,000, which I guess, man. Ross Johnson, I have not seen, I'm recording this around noon on Tuesday, so I have not seen any punishment come out for him yet. I don't know if it's because it's also a holiday week and they're slow to the ball on this. If you're the NHL, I think the Anaheim Ducks are cowards. They are sore losers. Both of these incidents happened when they were sore losers, and I will say, I've only seen the Ducks twice this year do this. I mean, I'm not even including the dumb, stupid hits that Jacob Trouba tried to put on guys last night and just full send into guys. Like, I'm not even including that. That's not okay. But that's just how he plays, and you kind of have to watch out for that. It's the being down and going out of your way to fuck somebody up that you shouldn't be. Like, I understand if it's like a 2-1 close game and you're trying to get the advantage, okay. But you're probably not going to do that then because it's a close game and you don't want to fuck it up. But when you're down 8-3 or you're down 3-1 with 15 seconds left or 20 seconds left or whatever it was last night, and you're punching dudes and putting dudes in headlocks, that's just not cool, man. You're getting the reputation of being a dirty team, of being a team that, if shit isn't going your way, you're going to beat them up. If you can't beat them up. That's the Anaheim Ducks. Fortunately for Anaheim, they play in a league that doesn't really stop that. It's not really frowned upon in today's NHL because there's not really any punishment. Like, I got to double check here, but I don't think last I heard, George Parros has put out a suspension on anybody this season outside of the Mikko Rantanen mandatory suspension that comes from the CBA for his stuff. Or he got a couple, I think, match penalties or 2 game misconducts in a row or something like that. And then Scott Sabrin, I think, got a suspension in the preseason. But otherwise, like, there's no suspensions. They don't suspend anybody. There's no supplemental discipline. And that's where the Anaheim Ducks can get away with this shit because who's stopping them? George Parros isn't. The league isn't. Who cares if Vince Dunn or Ty Karche or, Jason Robertson gets hurt? Gives them a better chance to win later on in the year. That's how I think the Anaheim Ducks view this and how the Anaheim Ducks go about this. And these guys are just a bunch of punks. They're a dirty team. They're more competitive, for sure. But I think you can separate the competitiveness versus the just being classless assholes. So congrats to Joel Quenneville for, being head coach of that team. Showing off your everybody wants to talk about how great of a coach Joel Quenneville is. And I'm not here to question his coaching ability. I'm here to question his, people skills and his his personality. And this, again, goes back to, his time with the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm also here to question why his team feels the need to beat up on others when they're down by multiple goals late in a game. Just, you don't need to do that. Not necessary. Take your loss, go home. I understand wanting to show fight. I think there are two different, I think there's two different things here between showing fight and beating guys up. Like, I think you can show fight. Like, you don't want to be like the Toronto Maple Leafs where they don't show fight. They don't show any passion. And I'm not saying to do that because that is unacceptable. And that, should not be praised or, expected. You should be expected to show some level of compete and passion and give a shit. But when it comes at the expense of injuring and hurting other players, that's not acceptable. That's not cool. That's not how you should go about your business. So this is just a warning for anybody who has a 2-goal lead against the Anaheim Ducks late in the game. Somebody is getting punched. Somebody is is getting their brain knocked. Somebody is taking a shot that they don't need to take a shot. But I'm giving you the warning ahead of time. You're welcome. I care about player safety. I care about guys and making sure that everybody can go home in a safe and happy manner. Now, the Anaheim Ducks losing is not a happy manner, I'll admit, but do better next time. You guys are still first in the Pacific Division. That's what I mean. It's like, it's not like the Anaheim Ducks are like last. It's not like these guys are losing because of their skill. It's not like these guys are losing because they're bad. Sometimes you just lose 3-1 to the Seattle Kraken with an empty netter. Sometimes you lose 8-3 to the Dallas Stars at home. That's understandable. But it'd be one thing if you guys were the Vancouver Canucks and you were last place and you're doing this shit. Just, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do this. You don't need to be this team. But, they're, in a way, they're also planning for the playoffs, because in the playoffs they're definitely not going to call any of this stuff. So they're getting ready for their playoff run. They're getting their practice, getting their licks in. So yeah, the Ducks are sore losers. The league refuses to offer significant punishments, and they're free to choke guys out and sucker punch them. Nobody's going to stop them. This is just what's going to happen. So that's just my fair warning. If you're a team going up against the Anaheim Ducks, best of luck. Watch out. A little bit more on the hockey side. Was going through the standings, because today is the last day of games before the winter break. There are no games on Christmas Eve, Christmas, or Boxing Day. NHL spots that, anything is still up for grabs, really. But stuff that is definitely up for grabs includes first place in the Atlantic Division. The Detroit Red Wings lead that. I'm a Red Wings fan. I don't think they're that good. I think they're maybe hovering around a wild card spot, if I'm perfectly honest. I think the defense and goaltending is holding this team back, and I don't know that they even get enough scoring, to be perfectly honest. So Tampa Bay looks ripe for taking first place in the Atlantic. I still am not selling my Montreal Canadiens stock. I think that team is really good. Boston and Florida are hovering on the outside looking in from just a playoff spot. I think they're like a point back in the Atlantic and a point back in a wild card. So watch out for Boston and Florida. It's really like Toronto and Buffalo I don't think are going to be making it. Ottawa, I don't think so, but I wouldn't be surprised. You can make an argument that the Sens, get hot. They find another gear and they go to the postseason. Wouldn't be surprised by that at all. I just don't think Detroit's winning this division. I don't think this Red Wings team is good enough to win a division. Could be completely wrong. But with how good Tampa Bay's playing, with Boston and Florida kind of, figuring out, they basically just needed the first 2-3 months of the season to, get some jabs in, kind of, have a few measuring stick games, see where they're at. Both teams are pretty feisty, so I'm not gonna, bet against the Bruins or the Panthers. I think right now is my take. Speaking of which, the East wild card. So right now, the wild card in the Eastern Conference, the two teams in that are the Devils and the Islanders. I like both of those teams. I like them to make the playoffs. I don't know if I like them to get out of the first round. The Devils just got Quinn Hughes, not Quinn Hughes. They got Jack Hughes back, excuse me. Quinn's going to be there in 2 years. Jack Hughes is back after injuring his hand at a team dinner. Tate McRae was there, so he's getting the Tate McRae bump, so good on Jack Hughes. The Islanders, the Yanlanders, that's my second team. I like to joke. The Yanlanders, the Ianlanders. I want to like them. I want to believe that they're a playoff team, but God, it's tough. Like it is a you know, it's nightmare fuel, the Eastern Conference, because any one of these teams could do well and get back into the hunt. The Islanders would be fun, but you still have in the Metro Philly and Washington taking up second and third. And I watched Philly last night against the Canucks, and I don't know that Philly is that good, but who's to say? Like they got a Tokic bump, a Tokic bump, a Tate McRae bump, a lot of bumps going on in the Metro Division. The Islanders need their bump, and maybe that was just Matthew Schaefer. Maybe Matthew Schaefer has been their bump, but it's wide open. Like you can still tell me Boston and Florida could be wildcard teams this year. I have a tough time believing that the Devils aren't making the playoffs. I could more believe that the Islanders missed the playoffs, but it's wide open. Anything in that Eastern Conference is wide open. The Red Wings could be a wild card team. Like I think the Red Wings are actually probably closer to the Islanders and Devils than they are like Tampa Bay and Montreal. I think that's totally fair. Speaking of which, the West wild card right now is LA and Utah, and that's probably fair because you look at the rest of the standings in the West, and it's Seattle, it's St. Louis, it's San Jose. I mean, I think all of those teams have like a negative 30 goal diff. Like none of those teams really inspire confidence. San Jose would be fun in the fact that like it's a young team. Celebrini gets to the playoffs. Like they're probably losing in 4 games to Colorado or Vegas or whoever, but it would still be a fun series because the Sharks team is fun and entertaining, more so than Seattle or St. Louis. Utah, I'm curious to see with Cooley when he gets back what they look like. The goaltending has been fine. Utah is probably going to go to 5 games instead of 4 games against either Colorado or Vegas. Like, I don't. How do I put this? The excitement level I have for the West is less than the East in that I can talk myself into these teams in the East being more entertaining or having potential or just reasons to root for them. There isn't really that with LA. Utah, kind of, I guess. Seattle, St. Louis, and a bit San Jose. Like, it's really like 3 of those 5 teams, and it's like half Seattle. Like, I'll say Seattle, like San Jose, Utah, and like half of LA and Seattle. Okay, kind of interesting. Maybe Calgary gets on a run too. I don't see that, but maybe Calgary gets on a heater. I don't see that happening. But this is probably, I think, what it's going to look like in the West of LA and Utah, taking those wild card spots and going from there. Although LA, the Ken Holland thing, it's not going to work. This team's going to get worse. This team needs to sell before they... I think they're going to sell before they get good. I have not seen a reason to love LA and what they're doing, or to even just have hope for the Kings, really. This team is not better than the teams that have been playing in years past. I don't know how much of a hot take that is, but those are your spots up for grabs in the NHL right now. Definitely first place in the Atlantic, the East wildcard spots, and the West wildcard spots. Those are your big spots up for grabs to keep an eye on. Going the rest of the way. And just a reminder for you hockey fans out there, the NHL basically is again, they have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, so no games. San Jose, Vancouver, though, on Saturday night, actually, is going to be kind of fun. I'm kind of interested in that. And then February is more or less a write-off with the Olympics going on. We'll have Olympic coverage, talk about the Olympics, do some Olympic stuff in February. And then basically they are crushing like games in March and April. So it will be fascinating to see how that all goes. I'm gonna throw it over to football for a little bit. I want to give a few shout outs in the football world, American football, not soccer. Trying to decide if I how big of a World Cup guy I want to be. I guess I'll talk about the World Cup when it happens, but I don't know that I want to be a big World Cup guy. I kind of want to just protest Trump, I think. Maybe watch a Scotland game. We'll see. Shout outs in American football from this past week. My Seattle Seahawks, they beat the LA Rams in a classic chaotic Seahawks game. Hell of a great time. Never doubted them for a second. They basically control their own destiny for the first seed in the NFC. They need to beat Carolina and San Fran over the next 2 weeks. The Bears beat Green Bay on Saturday. That looked like a chaotic game. Did not get the chance to watch that, but looked like a chaotic game. Chicago is back. Caleb Williams is the guy. The Bears play the Niners this week and then the Lions the week after. So I'm rooting for the Bears this week. Bear down, as the kids say. Go Chicago. And then two more. These college football. Shout out. Actually, I'll give three more. Shout out Wazoo. They won the Potato Bowl yesterday over Utah State. Again, I did not get to see, but would have been a classic Ian sicko mode bowl game of watching Wazoo play Utah State in Boise on a Monday afternoon. That would have been great. Some FCS shout-outs. Montana State beat Montana in the Brawl of the Wild in their FCS, I think it was a semifinal game. That's a fun, as someone who's, I've been a college football fan for my entire life and a football fan, learning about Brawl of the Wild this year, and I guess I kind of always knew about it, but actually, getting to learn about it and see about it online and have people talk about it, and I went through Montana this year. Didn't go through Bozeman or Missoula. I didn't go through where the Brawl of the Wild schools are, but I got a little taste of Montana this year too. So now I feel like I'm in it. Now I feel like I have an idea. Shout out Montana State for beating Montana. They're going to the FCS final against, I think it's the final, Illinois State and Montana State, I believe, is the final in the FCS this year, the FCS National Championship, because Illinois State beat Villanova. So kudos to the Illinois State Redbirds. They will play the Montana State Bobcats. I will take the Bobcats because I think they're the best team, and they beat Montana twice, and I think that counts for something. So those are my football shout-outs I wanted to give this week. Seahawks, Bears, Wazoo, Montana State, Illinois State. Decent weekend of football. Unless you're these teams, and these are my football RIPs that I want to give. RIP to the Kansas City Chiefs. Your season very, very over. Mahomes towards ACL. Gardner Minshew towards ACL. They got a new stadium deal in which they're going to be playing in Kansas and not Missouri anymore. So basically all that we know about the Chiefs is going to be completely different in the next 5 years. No more Andy Reid, probably no more Travis Kelce, maybe no more Mahomes on the Chiefs either. Who knows? And they have a cool stadium, and now they're going to go play in a dome because that's what everybody does, and it's going to be taxpayer funded because Clark Hunt doesn't have billions of dollars to build a stadium. What billionaire has billions to build a stadium? RIP to the Detroit Lions. Played a stupid game on Sunday against the Steelers. Lost. Now they need help to get into the playoffs. I like the Lions. I almost love the Lions. I'm sad to see them fall apart like this because I really believed in the Lions. I really thought they had something going, and maybe they do next year. But, it's tough when you lose both your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator, and you're expected to be a Super Bowl winning team. Not easy. Not easy. So, unfortunate for them losing at home on Sunday to the dumb and stupid Pittsburgh Steelers, and then you lose a dumb, stupid game, and your season's pretty much done. They got a short week this week against Minnesota, which, that's another thing. I talked a little bit about it last week in my Substack, which if you're not subscribed, go subscribe to my Substack. You can find that on our link tree as well. The Thursday night games are stupid. that was a fun game with the Seahawks and Rams, not gonna lie. But the Lions in like a month are playing 2 short weeks. Like they are going from Sunday to Thursday in like twice in a month. That's stupid. That's ridiculous. Because the Lions are playing the Vikings in Minneapolis on Christmas Day. That's absurd. That shouldn't be allowed. So, RIP to the Lions. I still love you. Have a slice of Detroit-style pizza on your behalf. And RIP to the Texas A&M Aggies. They hosted Miami on Saturday morning in the college football playoff. Lost to Miami. Johnny Manziel was supposed to be the college game day picks guy. Bailed. He couldn't make it. He was in Miami, I guess, watching Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua fight, which I didn't even know that was a fight until I saw Joshua knock the shit out of Paul, which, hell yeah, that rocks. Go Anthony Joshua. Fuck you, Logan Paul or Jake Paul. Fuck both of you, the Paul brothers. Johnny Manziel allegedly went to the fight on Friday night, posted on social media, was supposed to be the college game day picks guy, and he said, can't do it, can't make it. So they got Alex Caruso, which is cool. I like Alex Caruso. I think he's a Thunder still, unfortunately, but I liked him when he wasn't on the Thunder. I liked him before it was cool. Texas A&M, they had home field advantage. Blew it. Lost. Couldn't beat the Miami Hurricanes. Dumb, stupid team, Texas A&M. Spending all that money on a football team, and you can't even beat Miami. Way to go. RIP Texas A&M. It's going to be so cool when you guys haven't even played in an SEC championship. You guys can't even make the SEC championship. You get a free home game, and you can't even beat the fucking Hurricanes. What a waste. Yeah, that's kind of my RIPs this week for football. Decent little football chat there. We'll have a bit more, I think, coming up later this week when we have a new pod. Going to try and do a Substack as well on NFL, college football. Get my writing bug out there and put it to good use. Finally, my sicko mode games of the weekend. If you don't know, I'm a sicko. I'm a degenerate. I love stuff that nobody should love, like a mimosa at night. I love a sneaky good, college basketball game between two teams nobody's even heard of. I love the Potato Bowl. The Potato Bowl is my cup of tea. It's evolving, I will say, because like this slate of NFL games this year, like the primetime slate, has just been fucking brutal. So I've kind of toned that back and focused my sicko interest in other things. Like this weekend, AEW, All Elite Wrestling, World's End. That's their pay-per-view coming up Saturday night in Hoffman's Estate, Illinois at Now Arena. Wish I could go. Looks fantastic. A 4-way match for the AEW World Men's Championship between MJF, Swerve Strickland, Hangman Adam Page, Samoa Joe. Should be a fantastic fight, that one. The Women's Championship will be between Chris Statlander, Jamie Hayter. Excited for that. They will have some Continental Classic matches, the semifinals and the finals. Those will be decided. Those semifinals and so basically the semifinal matchups will be decided Wednesday and Thursday in AEW Dynamite and AEW Collision. I'm probably not going to be able to watch those because I'm going to be hanging out with my family on Christmas Eve and Christmas. So semifinals matches will be determined later this week, and then the winner of the semifinal matches at Continental Classic will then fight in the finals. So basically, there's going to be two guys who are fighting twice on Saturday night. So that's going to be really cool. I think I'm going to get more into AEW and the wrestling for when it comes to Vancouver. AEW Dynasty is coming to Vancouver Sunday, April 12th. And then they're doing a couple Canadian shows before that. They're doing AEW Dynamite in Edmonton Wednesday, April 8th. And then AEW Dynamite in Winnipeg Wednesday, April 1st. April Fools? No. I think I'm going to try and do a little bit more of that, included a little bit of that. If that's not of interest, you can just skip. I totally understand if it's not your thing. I'm trying to make it a thing. I'm trying to make it cool because it's really like All Elite Wrestling. They do a really good job. They put on a really good show. They put on a really good product. Highly recommend If you want to get into wrestling or you get into the entertainment aspect of it, AEW is the place to go. World's End this Saturday in Illinois. Go watch it. Fenway Bowl Saturday. This is where we get into the real good sicko stuff. Army is playing UConn at Fenway Park in Boston in what could also be a really fun hockey game. It's going to be a bowl game between Army, UConn, very northeast. Like, can't even explain how northeast it really is. Should be fun. Can't wait. The New Mexico Bowl, that is going to be after the Fenway Bowl. That's going to be between North Texas, San Diego State. Basically, between the Fenway Bowl, the New Mexico Bowl, and Latvia versus Canada at the World Juniors, which I will probably watch that as well. All that is just going to be the lead-in to the AEW pay-per-view for me. So I can't wait. That's going to be really fun. Should be exciting. Of course, I'm going to watch the Seahawks game on Sunday. They're playing the Carolina Panthers. That's going to be a fun matchup because Carolina has something to fight for and that they're trying to win a division and host a playoff game, which is kind of crazy that the Panthers have made it this close this late in the year. Kudos to Bryce Young, Dave Canales, that whole team in Carolina. So there's your big sicko mode games of the weekend from Yan. AEW, Fenway Bowl, New Mexico Bowl, Latvia versus Canada. Can't wait. We got a big weekend coming up here. I'm celebrating Christmas at home, hopefully hanging out with some friends on Saturday and Sunday on Boxer Day and the 27th. We'll have some stuff coming later this week and then next week with New Year's. So stay tuned. Keep an eye out for all the stuff that we have going on. Again, you can follow us on Instagram at SYPPod. Our YouTube channel is the same. Go like and subscribe to this video on YouTube. And we look forward to coming out with more stuff later this week. Let us know what you think. Again, if you want to get one of these sweet SYP hoodies, be sure to take part and sign up in the SYP World Juniors Challenge. So that is all for now. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for tuning in. Go listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Again, watch, like, and subscribe on YouTube. Any support is greatly appreciated. Check out my Substack later this week. I'll have a football article. Maybe even I'll do the wrestling there too. Who knows? Check that out as well. Lots of great stuff coming out this week into next week. It's all going to be exciting. It's all worthwhile. Thank you for all your support. I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope you get to spend some time with your family and get to do, some baking like I'm going to do here. Get to do the things you love. It's the most wonderful time of the year, as they say, and want everybody to sell it in the best way and the most positive way that they can. So thank you very much again for everybody for your support. We will be back again soon. We'll chat later. Have a good one. Peace out.